Formation Soccer 97 was developed and published by Human Entertainment for the PlayStation that was only seen in Japan around the midpoint of 1997, and it follows off the back of many types of soccer games that were being released on the PlayStation at that time, as many developers from various different regions were all trying to get involved with the sports genre, where they were all trying to strive for dominance. But there was only a handful of developers that really saw any sort of significant progress in terms of popularity, and mainly with the likes of Konami and Electronic Arts that would become the two dominant forces with the FIFA series and the International Superstar Soccer series on the PlayStation. But there would be many other unique soccer titles that would be released during the early days and even the midpoint of the PlayStation's lifespan that would cater to a specific audience. You had the likes of Adidas Power Soccer that would prove to be quite popular during the early days of the PlayStation, among many other titles. And in Japan you had Dynamite Soccer that would be released in 1998 that would go on to span 4 entries during the franchise's lifespan. And then you had Formation Soccer that originally started back with an early title back in 1995 with Hyper Formation Soccer, so this would be the spiritual successor to it. And there would be a later entry to this with Formation Soccer 98 a year later that would be used as a way to try and build hype towards the World Cup in France at the time. So this is a very different type of soccer game straight away from the get-go. It has very different visuals from what you would see in your typical 3D football game. Again, a lot of developers were still trying to find their feet basically with trying to create sports games, as they'd use different game engines and graphics engines, so the visuals were always quite different, and this game definitely stands out from many other soccer games seen on the system. It tries to have a simulation kind of approach, but it does feel more like an arcade style of soccer game. And although it does play quite decently, it has some decent graphics, although when you do compare it to other types of soccer games it wouldn't probably fare as well in the looks department compared to other soccer games. But for an early enough soccer game on the PlayStation and in Japan, it does stand out. Now the controls can be quite clunky and the gameplay at times can seem a bit on the sluggish side, and it can be tricky to maintain possession with the ball, as the controls wouldn't be as fluent or as easily adaptable or easy to use when you compare them to more mainstream soccer games. But I'm sure that it has its own unique preferences, because again, with companies developing these games, and the fact is they were developing multiple entries, proves that they were popular within those regions. So it has some unique traits, and having spent time playing with it, like in my own personal opinion, it's never going to compete against the likes of ISS Pro or the FIFA series, but it does have some unique quirks and traits that does help it to stand out somewhat. Graphically, right, it's not as good compared to other types of games, but I do like the graphical style in it. There's a unique charm to this game that you don't really see. You definitely know that it's different from other soccer games out there, but that's what I love about the PlayStation in general, is the fact is that for the amount of games that are out there, the PlayStation does have some very unique games, although even the more mainstream games don't have some of these subtle kind of aesthetics that a lot of these lower quality games, if you will, would have. They definitely do stand out in their own respects. There's just something about them that really is appealing to the masses. But what does it feel like to play overall, even aside from the visuals? Right, the controls, from having spent time playing the game, it does feel a little bit on the clunky side, but I found that the more I got into it, the more you gradually started to get a feel for the controls, and I was able to start scoring goals in the game, so it definitely started to improve. So you genuinely started to enjoy the experience an awful lot more. But these early type of games are never going to be perfect. It is what you really make of them at the end of the day. There's people out there that like these type of games, but there's people out there that probably won't. But I'm sure there's also a lot of people out there that don't even know anything about these type of soccer games, especially from Japan. So it is interesting to go and try them out, because even when you do compare them to the likes of even later games seen even on the PS2, the funny thing about the PS2 soccer games that I've played over the years, yes, there's many different versions and sequels, but there's also a lot of different games that were released obviously in other regions. But but sometimes they're just rehashes of the same games. They've literally just used the same game engine. They might have tweaked a few things. The game plays and feels exactly the same as, say, an ISS Pro game or a different type of soccer game, and they just slap a different logo or badge or name on it, and that's pretty much it. But the PS1 has a lot more individual and unique titles. Yes, even the ones that do have their own sequels, they still feel somewhat different in their own way. That's the crazy thing about the PS1, is for the amount of soccer games and sports games that are available, there's no two of them that really feel or look the same as such. They're all somewhat different in their own way, which does help them to stand out. The only ones that would really see or be noticeable would be the likes of the ISS Pro series, because again, in Japan they would have been known as the J-League series, so, or even the likes of Goldstorm, which would have been developed by Konami, which is also considered to be an early J-League game on the PlayStation. If you played those games back to back from the different regions, you'd know the similarities straight away. They play almost identical. But other franchises with the likes of Formation Soccer and other ones, they play and feel very, very different to each other, which definitely helps it to stand out. So if you definitely are looking for something, I think, that is different, there's a plethora of different types of soccer titles that will pique your interest on the PlayStation, and this is but one of them. And I would love to know your thoughts on Formation Soccer for the PlayStation. If you have played this game, or even any games in the series at all, and if so, what do you think of them? Or did you even know that they even existed? I'd love to hear whatever thoughts you have of these games, so be sure to share them down in the comments below. And if you have enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell to be updated of future videos. And if you would like to see more content around other types of soccer games also seen on the PlayStation, check out the playlist here on screen to see more of those games in action. And as always, keep those gaming memories alive.